When I'm working on a project, I leave tools everywhere. On the floor, in my pockets, through the quantum portal to the Zandex dimension, and even on the car. This is not healthy. I need a tool trolley. I could go on eBay and buy a basic trolley for around 30 of my English pounds, but I know from experience stuff like this will be of subpar quality. Instead, I think I can make a trolley of equally dubious quality, but it will cost me nothing, except many hours of my life and a large portion of my sanity. But monetarily, it will be free. This half-baked scheme came about because I have some of these shelving carcasses lying around. They were also a cheap eBay special, and the hardboard shelves came preloaded with mould. I'm not even the only person on YouTube to be affected by this. Nostalgia nerds suffered the same fate. Don't buy these. After disposing of the mouldy shelves, the leftover metal structures have just been taking up space, and occasionally serving as a rack for spray painting small parts. I also have a leftover sheet of nice plywood that's had a cameo in some previous videos, so all I need now is some wheels and I'm basically there. I'm pretty sure I have some casters in one of these drawers. Only 2 casters. I can make that work. I forgot I had these drawer runners. Maybe I could add a sliding drawer to my trolley. So there's a bunch of parts, time to get building. The basic design is to use half of one of these shelving racks with a work surface on top and 2 lower shelves. I'm going to put some extra racking above the shelves and work surface to stop things rolling off, and then I'll add some wheels to the bottom and a handle. First up, I need to measure the shelves and work surface. And I managed to measure one side 10mm too short. Luckily I noticed before I drew the cut lines. And yet somehow I still managed to cut to the wrong measurement. Annoyingly, it's short on one edge and I don't have enough plywood to make another, so this will just have to be the bottom shelf. I'll hide my shame with the extra wood I'll add for the casters. A length of this thicker scrap wood goes at each end to give me something to screw the casters into. As the bottom shelf has no lengthwise support, it's very flexible, so I'll add another piece of wood to brace it. Really I should use a pocket screw jig here, but I don't have one, so I'll just wing it. Now I'll just make another shelf, making sure to measure thrice and cut to the correct measurements. And in it goes. One issue is the thickness of the ply is 9mm, whereas the gap between the shelf supports is more like 12, leaving just enough of a gap to allow a small drill bit or washer to disappear. I'll hammer the bottom edge of the top support down to close that gap. I did the same thing for the top work surface, and now it's time to add the casters. All 2 of them. I have a plan though. I'll put 2 casters on one end and then 2 feet on the other. As long as I don't put anything too heavy on, I should still be able to move it around. For the feet, I'm just going to use a couple of big bolts, screwed down to match the 50mm height of the casters. And would you look at that, it sort of works. Ish. Although these corners are an arterial laceration just waiting to happen. Luckily the original shelves came with these plastic feet, so now I'm slightly less likely to bleed out every time I use this. So now I need a handle. The landlord won't notice it's missing, right? Damn, too long. I'm gonna have to make something. So I found this tube in my scrap metal bin, and to mount it to the trolley I just need a couple of bolts and some nuts. Hey, where are all my nuts? Oh yeah, it's November. I managed to find some nuts in the Zandex dimension, along with a bunch of lost 10mm sockets. Apparently that's where they all end up. With the bolts in place, I can weld the bar on and... wait, I just remembered we removed an old shower at home, and the screen had a good handle on it. That would be easier, better, shinier, and still free. Damn, that would have been too good to be true. Luckily I've got spare shelf support, so I can swap this one out for one with the correct hole distances. I could call it finished here, except I've just discovered a design flaw. These shelf supports mount to the uprights using tabs. Gravity pushes the supports down into the uprights and the uprights push into the floor, and the floor pushes back up with equal force, so saith Newton. Only I've reversed all that. The casters and feet are mounted to the bottom shelf, not the uprights, so as soon as you put any weight on this, the uprights get pushed down, the opposing force is acting on the bottom shelf via the casters and feet. The end result is the shelf lifts itself out. It's basically being held in by friction alone. It's an easy fix though, I just need to flip the lower shelf supports and now all the forces are working in the correct direction again. Hail Newton! But how strong is it? Time to try putting something heavy on it. Wait, what is that? Oh yeah, I have a motorbike project. Well, that frame should be a good test. And it holds it fine. But this frame probably weighs like 40 kilos. I'd like to test with something heavier. How about me? I weigh like 75 kilos. Here's the deal, if it can hold my weight, you have to like and subscribe. Huh, it did. Wow, I honestly thought it would collapse. So it holds heavy things fine, but the casters are crap and there's only 2 of them, so it doesn't move very well and I've just realised I've made shelves. I spent hours of my life turning shelves into shelves. That's it, I'm buying casters. So it's not free anymore, but these only cost me £9. They're double ball bearing and 2 of them even have brakes. That's much better. Now it's a tool trolley. I haven't added a sliding shelf. I want to use it as is first and see if it really needs one, so I might revisit that at a later date. Also, the shelf support onto which the handle is mounted has some flex, which isn't great, especially when you're trying to push heavy loads, so I'd like to brace that somehow. But overall I'm happy. I've taken a bunch of scrap, and some 9-pound casters, and made an incredibly shiny tool trolley. I'll probably paint it.